the Boston Bruins have the best player in the NHL in 2025. Like from the beginning of this year to now, no one has been better than David Pastrnak. And he won't win this, but he should absolutely get MVP consideration if the Bruins make the playoffs. Because he is by far the most skilled guy on that team, and he is carrying them, absolutely backpacking them. And I still think that's, definitely not a given that they're going to make the playoffs. But if they do, if they make the postseason, especially if they have room to spare to make the postseason, Pastrnak has got to be in the MVP consideration, if not the MVP. He's been fantastic since the turn of the year. And right now, he gets another assist last night, which looked like it was Pasternak's goal at first, but it was an assist in a 3-0 victory over Minnesota, a team that's better than them and was the best road team in the NHL going into that game. And the Bruins shut him out 3-0. And it wasn't like a fluky one, if there is such a thing as a fluky shutout. Like they took it to the Wild for most of that game. Jeremy Swayman was great, but the Bruins carried the play. And now it's an 11-game point streak for Pastrnak. 24 points in his last 11 games. He was one of the 3 stars for January, and for good reason. I mean, his January was nuts. What did he have? 24 points in 14 games in January. And, of course, 24 in his last 11, which overlaps through both months. And then you think it's going to, take a tailspin after January. Oh, that was his one good month. How about February 1st? He gets 4 points with a hat trick. A hat trick, 3 goals and an assist against New York, who they play again tonight. He's just been on fire. And it does beg the question, he does play better with Pavel Zacha, who's not a true center. But it begs the question, what would Pastrnak be doing with a real number 1 center? Like a real playmaking top-end center. I'm not even talking like a top 5 center in the league, but a top 25 or 30. He might win the MVP. He might score 120 points. He's that good. And he's playing on a line. This is where you should take into consideration for the MVP. He's going to be one of the top, whatever. I think he could still get to 100 points. He's on pace for about 90. I think he's going to get to 100 points here. He's playing on a line with Pavel Zacha and Morgan Geekie. So if he eclipses a 100-point plateau and the Bruins are in the playoffs, I don't know who else you pick. Again, value here. Hart Trophy for the most valuable player. At times, he's the only player they've got. He's the only forward they've got, man. First star in the month of January, and he deserved every bit of it. He's had some tough times this year. He's had some turnover problems at the beginning of the year. He just wasn't making much of an impact. Teams were really keying in on him. Obviously, there was that report from Rich Keefe about him and Marchand not being friends and not wanting to play on a line together. That's probably BS. But Pastrnak is carrying them right now. This is a player that's in his prime, and it's really too bad that he doesn't have a playmaking center for him, like when he had Bergeron or Krejci. Because you went out and you spent for one. You spent a good amount of money on what you thought was one. But come on, dude. Elias Lindholm, not even close. Not even close to what this team needs. And so you look at all of this up and down the lineup. Coyle is playing on a right wing because Lindholm can't be a top 2 center. Zacha now playing center when he's really a winger. Morgan Geekie playing on the first line. The mismatch and the lack of talent here. And they're still right there for a playoff spot because of David friggin' Pastrnak. And I don't want to say he's been super chastised in this town or anything, because I think a lot of the Bruins fans realize that Pastrnak is a great player and love him as a player. But he does get some grief sometimes from the media, and this should be burying that. This, I'm sorry. He is the only player they've really got of any kind of real quality. The Bruins are on the outside looking in right now. They are even on points with Tampa, but obviously for that second wild card, they're way below in goal difference, which is incredible. They are, let's see, 58 goals behind Tampa. even on points, but Tampa has 3 games in hand. And that first wild card's now Detroit, by the way. You talk about a story here. Detroit has been on fire. They've won 7 in a row. They've 7-2-1 in their last 10, so 7 in a row after that. They're 3-0 in shootouts this year. How about that? And they also have a game in hand of the Bruins and have an extra point. Pastrnak is going to be the only reason they get in there if they get in there. But it's time to start putting some respect on David Pasternak's name if you're not already. And I know it's not the name recognition nor playing for a contender the way, McDavid and McKinnon would probably win it again. Or Kirill Kaprizov before he got hurt. He was having a great year for Minnesota. I know he's not that. And what might work against him is the fact that the Blue Jackets might make the playoffs. And Zach Werenski will get some Hart Trophy buzz. He won't win it because he's a defenseman, and defensemen can't win it if you're not named Bobby Orr or Chris Pronger. But David Pastrnak is, we owe him a huge debt of gratitude as Bruins fans. He's incredible. By the way, he tied Wayne Cashman for 8th all-time in Bruins points yesterday. So he's going to be obviously one of the great scorers they've ever had, one of the great point totalers. That's the other thing too, is he's obviously a big-time goal guy. And I've said in the past, I'm like, Pasternak's kind of an underrated playmaker. And the beginning of this year and last year, to be fair, we didn't see a lot of it. You're seeing it now. 27 goals, 39 assists, still a -1, but 66 points through 55 games. He's an absolute playmaker, and that was point number 793 and a plus 140 for his career with the Bruins through what's that now? 10 seasons? I guess this is 11th season at age 28. Golly, man. Won't turn 29 until May. What a special player we've got. 88 is going to be in the rafters someday, but really, really appreciate what he's given to him this year, because this is nearly MVP kind of stuff right now for a team that stinks. For all intents and purposes, a team with that kind of record having an MVP would be ridiculous. But David Pastrnak is absolutely proving the value right now.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.